Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our movie club. Today we will speak about American movie, The Searchers, 1956.
52.
Yeah, nice. So let's define a genre of this movie. What is this? Western, right?
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you, what exactly is Western? Is it must it be about cowboys and Indians, or it can be something else? Actually, what do you think?
Usually it's cowboys and Indians. It's the cowboy days anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we cannot shoot like Western without an Indian with a feather.
No.
No, you can have no Indians. It's just cowboys is the big thing.
Okay, okay. So whenever you see Western, you must know you will meet one, cowboy.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so let's start from the history itself, from the movie. Leila, could you please start to tell us what is the movie about?
The film starts by John Wayne's, the lead, how can I say, the very famous person, actor, coming to his brother's house, if I'm not wrong, after his being a veteran. I think he has come back from a war or something like that. And I didn't think that he was welcomed a lot. And I, the very first moment when I saw his looks to the lady, his brother's wife, I thought that he secretly loves her. And then I think he feels a bit isolated or lonely. He goes out of the house and starts thinking. And the other day, some other people come, and that's how they just start following the American Indians. I'm not sure. I think so. And at Eaton's, I mean John Wayne's niece is kidnapped by Comanches who murder her family and burned their ranch house.
Mhm.
And then I stopped.
Okay, okay. Let's ask a few questions. So first of all, about this war, what kind of war it was? It's a civilian war in America, right?
Mm.
And who was the sides, and to which side belongs this Essen? What do you think?
You ask me or everybody.
Any,
I
anyone,
I
anyone.
know.
Please, sure.
So Ethan um, was part of the loser band, the band that lost the war, the Confederates, the South,
Okay.
and he
So,
came back to his home 3 years after the war was finished.
what he did? What have his? I don't know. Where he was for these 3 years? What do you think? Why it takes so long? Why it took so long?
I don't know. He wasn't happy accepting that they lost, and I found he was a little bit, I don't know, racist. Just a little bit.
Okay, so as Leila mentioned, I felt the same that there is some romantic story between him and his brother's wife. I think so, Leila. I agree with you because it was like strange, like looks and something, some awkward moments.
Yeah. Before she gave his coat back, she
Yeah,
smelled her coat.
yeah,
It's
exactly,
very romantic.
exactly. And some old guy watches this scene when
Yeah,
he, yeah, when she snorted this code, and it was all of this was strange. Yeah, really. So, and let's return to Comanche. What is Comanche? Is it name of a tribe, right? Indian tribe.
Yep.
Can you name a few more? Teacher, teach us about American Indians.
Um, there's one called the Iroquois. They were kind of it's a French name. I think they were up near Canada, up in the northern U.S. Uh, in the IT industry, you've heard the word Apache. Apaches was an Indian tribe. You had one called the Crow, the
Sioux?
Blackfoot. Seminoles are down in Florida, so we have a lot of Seminole names down here. What did you? The Sioux. Yeah, the Sioux is French. The Mohicans,
Yeah.
which are sometimes called the Mohawks.
Mhm.
There's probably more. We had many tribes, but only a few kind of became famous. The Comanche, the Apache, those are
Okay.
the two big ones.
The Cherokee?
Yeah, but I was going to ask you, about some stereotypes. Sometimes, if you say, for instance, I don't know exactly, but for instance, if you say like Apache, and you immediately know that they going to have a war with you. Some of them like peaceful, some of them like warrior.
We
all the
don't.
same.
Yeah, we don't really differentiate the tribes as far as characteristics. To my knowledge, to me, they're all just Indians.
Okay.
You
Okay.
leave them alone, they leave you alone. You bother them, they're going to bother you back. Just like
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. So my question was mostly about this Comanche thing. I was thinking if it's like something special message about Comanche, or just Indian tribe.
Just Indian tribes.
Okay.
They generally stayed separate and sometimes even fought each other for territory. I think only once they united together at the end, but it was too late by then. Custer's last stand, when General Custer got wiped out, I think that's when a couple of them actually allied together and surprised him. But beyond that, they allied together too late. We defeated them and pushed them west.
Okay, and speaking about these costumes, their costumes and their tattoos and all these things, can you like distinguish like one tribe from another tribe? Or not?
I cannot. No, I cannot.
So it's not a common knowledge in America. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we finished on the moment that some niece of this guy, Ethan, was kidnapped. Masans, would you please continue?
Yes, and after that, with the help of local authorities, he tried to look after the child and take the revenge on the Indians, the tribes. And on the way, they had so many battles with them, some small battles with them, and some of the local authorities stepped back from the mission. So because they didn't think it was a good, I don't know why they did that, but because it's a personal motive for Ethan, so they didn't want to move with him. So, and only after that, only 3 people moved further in the search.
Yeah, the searchers. Yeah? So eventually, after a few actions, we get only 3 guys, right? So who continues this search, and the rest like step it back because they don't feel like motivated, right? They say it's not worth it, or probably we will not take her back or something like this. I understood. I understood it this way. Okay, Gerard, would you like to continue or add some details if you want?
Okay. So Ethan and he's, this guy was adopted. How is his name? Marty? Marty. Go searching this girl for 7 years.
Wow.
Going after this, the boss, the chief, his name was Scarf.
Mm-hmm.
And they are after him trying to find Ethan's niece, who is supposed to live with those Indians. And I think at the first, another guy was with them. Was the fiance of the another girl, but then Ethan found the girl like raped and killed in the middle of a cannon. And this guy went crazy and went alone to attack the Indians. And they killed him. We couldn't see that we heard only the shots. But it was clear, the result was clear.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know. There is a lot. The movie lasts alone, but there is not a lot of meaningful content. All the time out in the middle of the desert. Sometimes we can see snow. I don't know. I don't know the journey. Where did they go? So because most of the time it's the desert, but then we can see snow, the forest. I don't understand.
Yeah. So how we call different scenery, different paysage is it
landscape.
Landscape, yep, landscape, different landscapes. So they probably cross America towards the Canada, I think. Actually, am I right?
Possible. I don't know. I didn't see the movie, so I'm not sure, Ivan.
Okay.
I've seen it, but it's a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think snow is kind of this direction to Canada, not to Mexico.
Right. The northern area, northern states have snow. Up in the mountains have snow. So if they went through the mountains, they could have had snow up there. Yeah.
So, Gerard, if you can skip, all these small scenes, all these small details. So, the main line was it happy end at the end or not?
Yeah, they found Debbie, and first, Ethan was so racist that first he wanted to kill her because she was like she was more like an Indian because all those years. I didn't understand why. He's like, for him being like an Indian is the worst thing in the world. Like Indians were cannibals, eating people, and I don't know. I didn't understand why it was, and why they was so adamant to find the girls if the girl was living with Indians for many years. The outcome is quite obvious. She became an Indian.
Yep.
And she wanted to kill her. At the end, Ethan accepted her, and she came with them.
Okay, so
we have a saying from the cowboy days. They used to say in the cowboy days, the only good Indian is a dead Indian. So that's right, Gerard. It was pretty black and white. You were either bad or you were dead.
Yeah, but Gerard's question is good. Yeah, why should you spend 7 years for that? Just you can manage it in one day. Say, okay, it's not my problem anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 7 years just to kill someone.
Yeah, to kill. What's the point?
Wow.
Maybe he has nothing else to do.
No TV, no internet. What do you want to do? Let's hunt down some people.
Yeah, but do you remember that at the beginning of the movie we know that this guy Ethan, he has some savings, some gold money or something, and after all in the movie one Spanish guy called this money like blood money or something. So it gives us a clue, but about what? A key to understand. Yeah. So what Ethan was doing for these 3 years after war, that he got a lot of money, and it's a bloody money. Yeah. Usually, what do you think?
Sounds like he might have been a hired assassin.
Yeah.
It may be that when the South lost the war, some famous people in the North made enemies in the South. And it may be that Southern people with money paid him money to kill some Northerners to get revenge. Or it could have been the other way around. Some Northerners might have paid him money, which made him a traitor, to kill some Southern people to smooth out the resettlement process. It's hard to say, but it sounds like he became a hired killer.
Okay. What's up, please?
Yes, Teacher Lee, let's consider the map of USA. Then, in which part the Indians were living at that time, south or north?
To tell you the truth, I never in my mind pictured Indians at the same time as the Civil War in the 1860s. I never imagined them living at the same time. So I'm going to guess that the Indians had been pushed west past, I would say past Tennessee and past Kentucky, mostly out to the west part, where it's desert and mountains. Because the early days they were on the East Coast, but we pushed them back, and by the time of the Civil War, 1861, I don't remember any Indian problems at all during the Civil War. They didn't fight in the war. We didn't fight them in the war. So I think they must have been pushed much farther west at that time.
Okay. Sure.
Montana, yeah.
Do you remember at the beginning of the movie, Ethan meets, the captain of the Rangers? Yeah. And he said, the captain said, you meet the description of some criminals.
Yes.
So probably Ethan was a criminal during these 3 years and had his money because of that.
Yeah. So speaking about Rangers and Scouts, sometimes in the movies they call these guys like Scouts. Is there any difference? Or what is this?
Scouts.
There was a group actually called the Rangers. They were like lawmen, like marshals. Rangers could range. They could go across the state boundaries. So Rangers had kind of like federal U.S. Marshal authority. Scouts, I don't think there was an organization called the Scouts, but the cavalry and the Rangers and even the Army today have people they call Scouts, and their job is to go ahead of the main body of people and look for danger or opportunities. So they might have been referring to the Scouts in the Rangers, going ahead and looking for Indians and things like that. I'm not sure.
Let's say it's not an organization; it's kind of a type of tasks. Yes.
Right. To scout ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
somewhat dangerous job. Because you're alone, and if you find danger, it might find you.
Yeah. Okay, and let's describe a few, scenes from the movie. I remember one when this guy Marty, right? His name, he got a wife. Do you remember this, Hans? Can you describe this romantic period to Leila, please?
Yes, because he was selling some goods to the tribes. I don't know. It's because I didn't have any subtitles, so I guess it's because of their living with the pocket money or something. So they had to manage with the money on their journey. So they sell some goods to the tribes, and whatever he sells, the lady was just smiling, and he was getting more and more. And finally, once after some time, she agreed with a smile, and she ran into her tent with a with a shyness. So he thought, okay, my business is done. Okay, she will give some money or something like that. But later he understood that she was riding with them, along with them for after the business. So Ethan said, right, no, you didn't get any money. You got a wife for the trade, So it was a funny business trade.
Yeah, that's really funny. So Marty was trying to buy some, I don't know, what is that? Like some kind of carpet, I don't know, some kind of clothes. And yes, and after he realized that he got a wife, and actually the price was, do you remember the price? It's 2 hats. Yeah, 2 hats like fedora, I think, something like this. Yeah. Leila, do you think it's enough, 2 hats for a wife?
Sure.
Okay.
While you were talking about the things that I try to remember some things, and what I really remember is, do you remember when, you know, John Wayne comes home and the captain comes? I think he looks at him with, full of hatred because he is also partly Indian.
Mhm.
So what I'm thinking is that Gerard is right. He is really racist.
Yeah, maybe, but maybe it's his experience. Maybe he experienced something bad. It's a, uh, it's easy to judge people when when you in a distance from this like hot bed, I would say. Yeah, but if you inside, if you experience some bad thing with Indian tribe, I
Sure.
don't know. Yeah, so
I must
probably.
have been, just prejudice, but the first time when I started watching the film, I said, wow, it's good because I love John Wayne. And then when I realized that he's not a good guy, I said, oh my God.
Okay. So let's ask other guys. Do you agree that John Wayne, the essence, isn't a positive like hero in a movie? It's kind of anti-hero.
I have watched some of his films, and for me, when you say John Wayne, I can say that, oh, he's a hero because usually he does good things and he saves people. But here, in this movie, maybe there are lots of movies I haven't watched. He's not a good guy.
Yeah. Okay. So how we call the set of the movies that actor made? So I can remember some French word like repertoire or something. So it's like a set of movies where actor took place.
Well, repertoire is more of a toolbox, a set of tools that you can choose from. In Hollywood, we have different stages, different sets. You might have a snow setting, a log cabin setting, a city setting. Those are called stages.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about?
Almost. I mean, some actors, they always play like one role. Yeah.
Stereotype, really.
Yeah. So
Yeah, John Wayne always plays the great American hero. Yeah. Honest, integrity, fighting for right and justice like Superman. Yeah.
Me, especially when he splits, just as if he was a great guy, splits to the ground. I hate him.
If you remember Sean Connery, he was James Bond for many years.
Yeah.
The reason he quit playing James Bond was he did not want to be stereotyped as a secret agent where that's the only movie parts he could get. So he stopped being James Bond so he could branch out and do different kinds of roles. And he did. He did. Yeah.
It's a good move for career, I guess.
So you take people like Steve Martin. Steve Martin always plays comedies.
Yeah.
You put him in a serious role, and I can't watch him because I keep seeing him as an idiot comedian. So stereotypes are dangerous for some actors. Yeah.
But there are some exceptions. Do you remember Tom Hanks? He was a comedy actor at the beginning, and he's been in the 80s, and then he changed a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So in this movie, Searchers, so John Wayne playing not his stereotypical role, right? Something different.
Right.
Well, it's a bold move. I think it's very useful.
He never died in his movies. I think The Shooter or True Grit, I forget which one, was the first movie where he actually died at the end. It was like, whoa, this is different. The hero dies.
But as far as I understand, there are a lot of movies with John Wayne, right? Like
many. initially they were all cowboy movies, and then we had World War II. So then he played in some army movies.
Okay.
He played in one called The Green Beret.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, but maybe interesting. Yeah. Okay, so we remember this wife episode. Another episode that I like it, just just to I think it's just an interesting story. About these bisons, big animals with
Buffaloes?
buffaloes. Yeah.
Oh, buffaloes. Okay.
Buffalo.
Because buffalo, right?
Buffalo.
Not a bison. Bison means something.
Bison is another name. Bison or buffalo, same animal.
Okay, bison. So once I read an article that bisons were like ubiquitous in on the American continent. They were like everywhere, and so foraging is the correct word, was very easy. You just to take something for food was very easy. You go somewhere, you take a buffalo, and because of this, for Indians, there were no problem of food or foraging or something. So when this war, essentially said, between new Americans and all Americans took place, so one of the sides, modern America started to eliminate bisons. They just shoot them without any reasons. Just shoot to undermine the foraging ability for Indians, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, yeah. So and now it's not there are not many buffaloes in America, yeah. So it's a good example how animals suffer from from humans' deals, I think.
If you South Dakota, which is where Mount Rushmore is. Mount Rushmore, the 4 presidents' heads in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tourist area. So if you go to South Dakota, you will see buffalo roaming freely, and sometimes they'll get in the road and just stand there. So when you're driving, you have to stop and wait for them to move off the road so you can continue. Yeah. But very rare now.
Okay, so anything else? Any line what you like in the movie? We can please, right?
Yes, the difference between those movies at the beginning, the Indians were depicted as savages, black people, and then later from the 80s forward, new westerns appeared that better, so the Indians looked better. They weren't so bad, and sometimes their violence was just justified. They were Comanches were very angry with the hunters that killed the buffaloes. But that I think it's quite logic.
Yeah. If someone came to yours and destroy, what you need, so probably I would take my, bow and arrows as well. Vasant, please.
Yes, and I like the part when Martin and Charlie decided to fight. That was a funny one because they were so polite and just so gentle. They went out like a friends, like, okay, you go first and I will come. And they went to a place with an open place, and he wore off his hat and coat, and he gave it to Martin, and Martin Martin got them and placed them on a good place and started the fight. That was a funny one.
Yeah. So do you remember what was the reason for this fight?
Yes, because Charlie was about to marry the girl Martin loved, because Martin didn't show up for a long time, so they decided to marry her to Charlie. And suddenly on the wedding occasion, Martin appeared, and then
exactly at the wedding day, right? After 7 years.
Yes.
7 years. After a letter, he wrote a letter, and the letter was kind of like this. Occasionally, I bought for me an Indian wife.
Ow.
Leila, please.
I was going to ask you something. The very beginning of the film, they just started chasing the guys, and they found two cows killed by Indians.
Yep.
And then before that, they found a hole, a rock on it, and they found a dead body in it. And the Indian's body, was he dead or alive? Because John Wayne shot him again 2 times.
Yeah, I understand what you're asking about. So it was like a scenery like this, you know. It was a big,
Cemetery, right?
yeah, it was a big stone, right? And this big stone was on a body, on an Indian body, yeah. And they, just covered by a big stone. But probably this guy was still alive, maybe because John Wayne after like shoot him. So it was a strange situation, and I understand why Leila asking what was about.
That's the moment I stopped watching.
I think that sets up Ethan's character.
Yeah.
His racism. He hated Indians so much that he just shot him a few times to make sure he was dead.
Probably.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But speaking about this killed bulls, yep, what Leila mentioned, it looked for me like a trap, like some trick used by Indians. I mean Indian Americans. So because at the beginning, rangers, those group of rangers, they kind of discovered where is this bulls, so where is this cows. So they lost them and trying to find them, and then they found them killed. Am I right?
Could be because they were looking after the kidnapped girl, right? Maybe they thought she was buried there.
Something strange about this. But it looked like a trick for me, like a trick to trap maybe. I don't know. Gerard, do you understand this thing?
What about the cattle? Okay,
Yeah.
It was a trick, or a route, I think you call. So the people who would come after the cattle, and the farms were alone, and they could attack the farm. The Indians could attack the farm. It was a trick.
Yeah. So just make all these men go away from the farm. Yeah.
And now I just watched the Indian that was buried with the rock, and he was alive because he was moving, he was breathing.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't understand why. Maybe he was about to die. I don't know why he was.
Yeah. Why he was on the rock? Yeah.
I wonder, it almost sounds like they were trying to trap the Indian, so they put some cows there. So maybe the Indian was hungry, so when he came to get the cows, he tripped some trap and this rock fell on him. And so he was trapped there injured and couldn't get away, and then John Wayne came up and saw him and said, "I'm going to make you a good Indian." I don't know.
Nasant, please.
Yes, but the weapon that killed the cow almost looked like the Indians' weapon. It was a long
spear.
Yes.
Yes, like you have to javelin throw. What do you call that?
Something wrong with your mute button, you know.
Okay.
I suspect. Remember, in those days, cows were owned by owned by farmers, and they had brands on them for ownership. So the Indians weren't supposed to hunt the cows because they were owned by cowboys. So that was a crime. So it may be that the Indian was so far east that he didn't have any buffalo to hunt, so he had to hunt cattle, and the cowboys didn't like that, so they set a trap for anyone trying to steal or kill their cattle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a few questions on our Padlet. Let's answer a few of them. So one question is, why did Debbie refuse to go with them at first? Well, do you understand who is Debbie and
No, I
why
don't remember. If you can make me remember, maybe I could answer.
this goal of rescue operation?
The gentleman, right, with green eyes, the niece.
No, it's Debbie is the niece, right?
She's the one that the searchers were searching for the whole
Oh.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Later, stop, finish.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
So she had been raised as an Indian for 7 years. Well, I don't know how old she was when they found her, but
By the American Indians, right?
so she didn't want to leave the Indians to go back with Ethan. So the question is why?
I can give you an imaginary answer because the Indians treated her very well.
Yeah, sounds good. Could be. Could be. If 7 years, it's a big, time.
She
If
got
she,
used to living with them.
yeah, if she felt comfortable with new life, why she have to change it?
If they kidnap me, I will go on living with them. Believe me.
Okay.
Remember the Stockholm syndrome.
Really? Thank you.
Yeah, and Vasant mentioned this fist fight episode, and I found that during this episode in the movie, all the women were very excited about it. They tried to watch through the windows, and they were like, they were really excited. It's like better than television. Yeah. So, yeah. Why do you think? Why so? What do you think? Is it just an entertainment or it's something special? He's my hero.
My hero!
But else, from your experience, when you having a fist fight with your friends, so what women do?
Yeah, I think it's common to every woman because they, as Teacher Lee said few weeks ago, women want to be protected by their men, so they want to feel protected. So when they see someone powerful with a good physique, they will automatically feel protected. So that is the reason, I think.
Okay. So just to see a macho, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, Lela, let's ask you. So do you like to watch, fighting men or not?
Oh no, come on. No. No. Because I'm against fighting, But if something unfair happens, I could also fight.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
what if two men both wanted to marry you, Layla, and they were fighting each other to see who the winner was to marry you? Would you feel so proud that two men are fighting over you and you get the strongest of the two men?
No. And I would marry neither of them. Because they're stupid. Aren't I right, Gerard? Oh, my friend.
Yeah, I was going to ask you another question. So, do you remember there was some guy in a bar, and he tried to shoot, and they got some information from him and promised him money or gave him money. I can't remember. And then they refused to sleep in his hotel or bar and started to sleep outside. And this guy tried to shoot them in the night. But John Wayne was ready and shoot him back. So all this story is total mystery for me. Please explain to me what is happening.
It's easy. The guy wanted all the money. They gave him $30, I think, but they promised 100. But he didn't have the information, I guess. And he wants the money.
So just robbery.
To get the money for free.
Okay, so it was just a robbery, you think?
Yeah.
Like this. Okay, because I felt like I totally missed the point. So I felt like a guy kind of, I don't know, in alliance with Comanche or something else.
No, it's not that they deceived him. They, is that they gave some part of the money, and Ethan said, when we have the information is true, when we seek the information, we'll give you all the rest of the money.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So he knew about money, right?
He wanted the whole money.
Okay. So and John Wayne was he could read his mind, right, and be prepared to this trap.
Yeah.
Feel the trap or something. Okay.
No, because he must have been a criminal as well.
Ah.
So, remember,
So
a criminal thinks like a criminal.
Yeah. Actually, what was the saying? Like a great minds, they think alike, or something like this.
That's also one. We have a different one that's more appropriate here. We say it takes a criminal to know a criminal.
Wow.
But it's like great minds think alike.
Okay.
You know, like I'm gonna say,
Takes a
Layla,
criminal
how
to know
did?
a criminal. That's why.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's why in some movies police hire some criminal to help them, right?
It takes a hacker to catch a hacker. That kind of an idea, yeah, because you've got the same mindset, the same skills. Yeah.
Okay, I think we covered almost all the questions, and time not too much time there. So let's make some exercises with our slides. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, looks like it's the wrong screen. This one. Present to everyone. Okay, let's start. Gerard, could you please start with the picture?
Okay. We can see at the beginning of the movie that the whole family is together. On the left side, we can see Ethan's brother. On the right side, we can see Ethan's sister-in-law. The girl, this is the girl, this young girl is Debbie, the one that they found 7 years later. So here, like 6, 7 years old. I think she was 13, 14 when they found her. And the blonde girl was the one that they found on the canyon, raped and killed. And the boy, the boy, I think the boy was killed in the attack, during the attack. So here, I don't know what they're doing. Well, Ethan just arrived. They are about to eat dinner. You can see the table prepared. The pantry behind, I think. Coffee, we can see a lot of time they are drinking always coffee. I noticed that. We can see the coffee pot over the table on the left side.
Yep. And there is no coffee trees in America, I presume. Only in Latin America.
No what?
Only in Colombia or somewhere in Latin America, not in North America.
What?
Coffee trees,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was always imported. Yeah.
So we can see some stripes on the arm of Ethan coat. And you see some red something, yellow something. Stripes, I mean, on the coat.
Yes.
Yeah. What does it mean?
The sleeve.
Yeah, 3 stripes is a sergeant.
Okay. So we know his role, right? His rank.
Right.
Okay. I found out interesting that in the movies they always dress it well. So they supposedly like a family of farmers, right? But they always have a coffee ready, stalls, table served, and they always dress it well. So. Yeah, exactly. It was a sword, but there was another word like
saber.
Yeah, saber. Yeah, a big one. Am I right? Usually saber. How would you describe it?
Saber. Yep.
Yeah, but what is the difference between sword and saber?
Same thing.
Okay.
I don't know any difference. There's probably some small difference, but maybe a saber has a round hand guard and a sword does not. Maybe this one seems like it has a round hand guard to protect your hand. So maybe that's the difference, but I'm not really sure.
Another difference is a saber has only one side that cut. You know, a sword usually has two sides.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Nice.
what about the curved shape of the design?
Yeah. Sabers usually have a little curve to them too. Maybe small curve. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Possible. Okay.
Okay. Next picture. Leila, could you please describe the picture?
This was the morning, I think, and when the captain and others arrived. When they arrived, the family was having breakfast, and I didn't understand one thing: why they are so friendly with each other here. You know, they were just behaving as if they were at their house for a long time, and I think I like the design of the house because it looks so cute. And I agree with you. I didn't understand why they are just, their dresses were so modern.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, they
fashion.
they like always waiting for for a queen or something. Always ready. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
especially the lady, right? With the apron.
You have to remember also, Layla, that this was this was 1860s. Women were very modest. The dresses had to hide their ankles. Okay. A woman did not show her ankles. Okay.
And the cleavage.
And cleavage. So women always covered their body. Okay, like an abaya in the Muslim world. Okay, they always covered their body, so women were always nicely dressed with the bushy bottom. You know, the bottom kind of pushed out, the bustle.
But let alone they are, just the way they are just getting dressed, their hair. Look at the lady's hair, so tidy, And I agree with Ivan. So as if somebody was going to come anytime. Just so cute. Cute.
Always ready for guests. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but I found out that not only women, covered well. So those men, they always have like many pieces of, of costumes. They have like one short another, and then special coverage from, I think, for riding horse, and like many details on their costume.
And also they did call the man's scarf.
Yep.
The men are using scarf as well.
Kerchief.
Kerchief.
Right. Yeah. Kerchief.
But John Wayne's coat is the same, so she can smell it every time. I
the
like
smell of a man. Yeah.
I can see the fireplace as well. I like fireplaces a lot, Ivan.
Yeah.
Okay, Basans, please, picture for you. And I think, please continue.
This is where they found that Indian dead body in a pit with a rock on the top, like a lid. It covered like a lid, and they were checking his face because it was covered with a red color handkerchief or cloth. So he removed the red cloth and trying to see the face. And there was a guy throughout the movie. He was sitting on the rock. He almost looked like an artistic character in this movie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was this sense that we tried to describe with a kind of it was kind of a grave for this Indian, I think. But why he was alive or was not alive, I don't know. It sounds so strange. Yeah, and I like the color of the horse. If I ever buy a horse, it will be black. Okay.
Another fine point is that in westerns, the cowboys always use saddles on their horses.
Yeah.
Usually the Indians rode without saddles. Just a small point that you might notice sometimes.
I will teach you.
Teacher Lee, once I read an article about westerns in general, and they say that there is a big big detail that always missed in these westerns, that 99% of cowboys were black, because it was a hard job, and it was a job for black people, for slaves. Is it correct? What do you think?
I've never heard of that. No.
Okay, I will try to find this article and share. Yeah. So it was something strange for me as well. So I'm not sure that it's true.
We had one cowboy show on TV. It was a TV series, and it was called Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to watch some good westerns, like a TV series, Paladin is excellent. He was a cowboy. He lived in San Francisco and dressed up in nice suits. Basically, he lived in a hotel. And he was his profession was he was a hired assassin. And his business card had a chest knight on it. And his logo was "Have Gun, Will Travel." So he was a hired gun. So you would send him a telegram and say, "I got problems. I need a hired gun." He would go to your place and take care of your problem. Okay.
Wow.
And when he went on business trips as a hired gun, he wore all black.
Lee, can I contact him?
He was a pretty good guy. He tried to use his brain and solve the problems peacefully, but when the other side wouldn't cooperate, he was a fast draw. So his business card, "Have Gun, Will Travel," is a meme. So you'll see that a lot in English. You'll see teacher, has degree, will travel, or plumber, has plunger, will travel. You'll see a lot of memes on that expression.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. It's a part of culture. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was a cowboy that wore all black.
Okay. Okay. Let's describe one more for each. Gerard, please.
This is when they are Ethan and how was the name of the other guy?
Marty.
Marty. They are they're bargaining with this tribe, and they are exchanging products. And this is the moment Martin gets a wife because the wife follows him, but he didn't know why. There was a misunderstanding, and he got an indigenous wife, a native wife, but very fat and not very beautiful.
But very cheap, right?
And the chief they liked the hat, The chief didn't like anything but the hat. He liked the hat, this guy, the chief on the right side, liked the hat with a feather.
Yeah.
Okay. I should sorry, but I must run. I need to commute.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
See you later, Gerard.
Yeah. And fighting squaw. Squaw is another word for
Indian
wife.
woman. Usually Indian woman. I think maybe usually a wife. Yeah, but.
Okay.
Is it rude or normal? Lee.
Say what?
Is it rude to say squaw?
No, it's an Indian name. That's what they call their
Okay.
If you've ever heard the song "Half Breed" by Cher,
Yeah.
she talks about I'm an Indian squaw.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
People make fun of her and say she's a Cherokee. Give her a feather.
you.
Cherokee is another Indian tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the right side and on the left we can see some houses. This igloo, or how we call this huts.
The Indian houses are usually made of animal hide, and they're called teepees.
Teepees. Okay. Okay, and some horses and nice chair for a chief.
We call that a rocking chair.
Rocking chair, right?
Ah, okay, rocking chair. Okay, and this scene is very strange because these guys, these cowboys, these searchers, they like sell hats. Where they got hats? Where they got these hats? So they stole them or just kill someone. I don't understand this. Yeah.
But it could be the feeling of ennui,
Yeah.
Okay, but still strange one. Okay, Leila, I found a good picture for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Could you describe it, please?
Of course, but first of all, will you please tell me who the lady is? Couldn't be Martin.
Masans, could you enlighten us? Who is this lady?
Yes,
It's
this
Debbie,
is
right?
Debbie. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow, she's older. Huh?
7 years past.
Looks older than 14, though. She looks
Wow.
more like 21.
or 22, 23, no one can say anything. The
Yeah.
thing is that let's forget their character. What I can say is a strong man is holding a lady and he is preventing her from falling down.
Yep.
This is my imagination.
Okay.
We say he is holding her in his arms, is how we describe that.
Wow, this is more romantic.
That's right. Carrying her across the threshold into their new home.
Okay, just to practice new word. This guy has a kerchief. What's the name for this?
Kerchief.
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 Yeah. How we call this type of hat? It's not fedora, right? Just
yeah, I guess I'd call it a cavalry hat.
cavalry hat. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, not too much on this picture.
He's wearing suspenders. It looks like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a double-breasted, double-button shirt, it looks like.
Yep.
And he's got one button loose, so it's kind of falling over this way.
I can see her eyes, full of worry.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Don't drop me. We're pretty high.
Masans, please.
Yes. One thing I noticed in this scene is a dedication or something, because at this scene, in the scene, she was running towards this place, and he was chasing her on his horse, and she fell down, and again she fell down, and she even almost hit on the rock. Right? It was a frantic, how to say, accident. I think I would say. I really appreciate it. It almost looked like the same girl. It wasn't any dupe. Something. So. Yeah.
Okay.
Young girls have a hairdo called pigtails.
Pigtails, yeah.
So it looks like she's got pigtails.
But it's kind of Indian style, I would say, right?
Yeah, Indian style.
Or young girls.
Okay.
Children, sometimes we give them pigtails. And boys like...
Yes.
Okay, Basans, could you please describe this one?
Yes, and this guy is a soldier who is tipping off the bad guy's location to the captain. But he was trying to say every time he was trying to say what he was trying to say, somebody interrupted him. Sometimes it's a captain, sometimes Ethan or sometimes some other guy. So it was a funny scene. But finally, he had a chance to say that the bad guy is moving somewhere at this place. So this was a funny scene.
Yeah, I see. What is this gold sinks on the wall? Two gold sinks.
I think those are candle holders.
Oh, okay. And
And they,
on the yeah,
and they reflect to the light into the room.
I see. And on the top, some strange, long sink.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
Just
Now,
yeah.
Yep. Now, I'll point something out here in the movie. You'll see that John Wayne and the boy on the right are wearing blue uniforms.
Yep.
In the cowboy days, we had a kind of like an army. We called them cavalry. They were horse soldiers. And they had forts out west.
Uh-huh.
And the cavalry protected the civilians from the Indians. So the cavalry were kind of horse soldier army that protected civilians against the Indians. So they wore blue uniforms with a yellow kerchief, and they fought on horses, and they built wooden forts as outposts along the border with the Indians. So usually the Indians would fight the cavalry. But if you live on a farm, then the Indians might go after you, and you might have, a civilian fighting the Indians. But usually the cavalry were the protection against the Indians.
I see. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like border guards, but inside your country, right?
Right.
I see. Leila, question?
I was going to ask you something. It's John Wayne in the middle, right?
Yes.
So why he was looking at the young man as if he was looking down on him? I didn't understand it.
Well, remember, John Wayne was a sergeant.
Yeah.
Which is a low rank.
Uh-huh.
And he's old. This boy is young, and he's an officer.
Okay.
So he's a higher rank than the old guy.
I see.
So probably some young whippersnapper resentment there.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else about this? No? Okay, let's stop with the slides for this moment. Initially, I was going to ask you about this, this army. So this army of the South of America, they got lost the war, right? So what happened to them? They started to serve in North Army, or they just went back to civilian life or to cavalry? Because they wear some costumes at the beginning, so I don't understand really.
Uniforms, yeah.
Yeah.
Costumes are Halloween. Uniforms are serious business, okay? When the Civil War was over, the Southern Army was defeated. The Army disbanded. Everybody went back to civilian life, working on their normal jobs. When they went into the Army, they were drafted. They were like, shoe repair people and grocery people and carpenters, and they joined the Army to fight in the war. When the war was over, they just went back to their normal jobs. Yeah.
Okay, but they still could have like this uniform from this Southern Army, or not?
You normally didn't wear it. No, you normally took that off. It was no longer applicable. Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, so you might have some die-hard rebels that are proud, that refuse to take it off, but normally the uniform went away because it no longer existed. Yeah.
I understand, yeah. Okay, Leila, Vasans, we have time for last question, if you want, please, anything?
No, I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you, Lee. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
I enjoyed it, Layla.
I can double this. Sans, anything?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming. See you next week, right? Bye, bye, bye. Thank you, teacher Lee.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye-bye, Bye-bye, Lee.
Bye.
Bye bye.